I never had the privilege of watching Bob Gibson pitch. I simply have historical articles, data, and analytics to read about and compare to modern-day pitchers. I have great memories of hearing my father mention Bob Gibson when he and I would discuss baseball or while watching a game. My father would often scoff at the manager's decision to remove a pitcher after only 6 innings of work. He understood the reasoning of saving a pitcher's arm, but he would always reference Bob Gibson's endurance and that Gibson would run circles around today's pitchers since he was known for pitching several games with a pitch count well above 100. I would simply take his word for it, not wanting to or even knowing how to challenge his observations. I knew he was right. Why challenge the past? I think my father was subconsciously trying to preserve the light and joy he once had watching Gibson. I understand that now as an adult. There is a very slow erosion of the game's most iconic records and numbers. And even just for a few minutes, I hope to shine some light on Bob Gibson's time in the MLB. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the top of the fourth, and if this is your first time visiting, welcome.
Pack Robert Gibson was born in Omaha, Nebraska on November 9, 1935. He was the youngest of 7 children. 3 months before Gibson was born, his father died of tuberculosis. To honor his father, he was given the name Pack Robert Gibson, but later preferred to be just called Robert. As a child, Gibson battled respiratory disease and rickets, which is a disease that affects bone strength. Despite his health problems, Gibson gained a love for basketball and baseball. His older brother, Josh, who was 15 years older than him, was a good mentor and was a coach to him at the local YMCA where he played sports. Gibson played basketball, baseball, and track at Omaha Technical High School. Gibson earned an all-star rating in basketball his senior year in high school, and eventually was awarded a full athletic scholarship for basketball to attend Creighton University. At Creighton, Gibson majored in sociology while continuing to excel in basketball and made third-team Jesuit All-American. In 1957, his athletic skills caught the interest of the Harlem Globetrotters basketball team and the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team. Gibson was offered and accepted a $3,000 bonus to sign with the Cardinals, which is equivalent to about $31,000 in 2023. However, he decided to delay his start with the Cardinals for a year and decided to play with the Globetrotters. Gibson made his major league debut on April 15, 1959, pitching 2 innings in relief. He was sent down to the minors for a few months, but soon returned on July 30th to make his first career start, pitching a shutout against the Cincinnati Reds. During the 1960 season, Gibson bounced between the majors and minors, where he had a 3-6 record with a 5.61 ERA. During the 1961 season, the Cardinals manager, Solly Hemus, would use Gibson as a relief and starting pitcher. Years later, Gibson revealed that racial prejudice caused Hemus to refuse starting him and his teammate Curt Flood, both of whom were told by Hemus that they would not make it in the major leagues and should try something else. In July, Hemus was replaced as manager by Johnny Keane, who was Gibson's manager in minor leagues. Keane immediately moved Gibson into the starting pitching rotation full-time. For the remainder of the 1961 season, Gibson earned an 11-6 record with a 3.24 ERA. Off the field, Gibson, along with teammate Bill White and Curt Flood, started a movement requesting that all players share the same clubhouse and hotel rooms. Their efforts led the St. Louis Cardinals to become the first sports team to end segregation, 3 years before President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. In May of the 1962 season, Gibson pitched 22 consecutive scoreless innings and made the All-Star team for the first time. Despite suffering a fractured ankle late in the season, Gibson still earned 200 strikeouts to finish the season. During the 1963 season, Gibson's ankle injury still lingered, which caused him to rely on his slider and 2 different fastball pitches, and still managed to earn 6 straight wins before July. During the 1964 season, the Cardinals developed a strong camaraderie, becoming a model team that was noted for being free of the racial tension that afflicted the United States at that time. The Cardinals made it to the 1964 World Series and faced the Yankees. In Game 7, Gibson, who only had 2 days rest, pitched into the 9th inning. Gibson finished the game and helped give the Cardinals their first World Championship since 1946. Along with his 2 victories, Gibson set a new World Series record with 31 strikeouts. The 1965 season was not successful for the Cardinals. They failed to make the postseason, but Gibson made the All-Star team and won 20 games for the first time, earning a 3.07 ERA. The 1966 season was more of the same success for Gibson, making the All-Star team again, this time winning 21 games and earning a 2.44 ERA. During a game on July 15, 1967, while pitching against the Pittsburgh Pirates, Roberto Clemente hit a line drive off Gibson's right leg. Gibson was unaware that his leg had been fractured and continued to pitch before his right fibula bone snapped above the ankle. The Cardinals won the NL pennant on September 18th. In the 1967 World Series, the Cardinals played against the Boston Red Sox. Gibson allowed only 3 earned runs and 14 hits over 3 complete games. Gibson pitched a complete game in Game 7 and helped the Cardinals win the World Series. Gibson also helped with his offense in Game 7, hitting a home run. The 1968 season became known as the Year of the Pitcher. Gibson continued with his dominance, earning a 1.12 ERA, which was a live ball era record, as well as a major league record with 300 or more innings pitched. It was the lowest ERA since Dutch Leonard's 0.96. 54 years earlier. Gibson threw 13 shutouts. He won all 12 starts in June and July, with 8 shutouts, pitching a complete game every time, earning a 0.50 ERA. Gibson pitched 47 consecutive scoreless innings during this stretch, striking out 91 batters. Gibson finished the season with 28 complete games out of 34 games started. Gibson won the National League MVP in 1968, and to realize how rare it is for a pitcher to earn MVP, it wasn't until 2014 when Clayton Kershaw won the NL MVP. Denny McLain, also a pitcher, won the AL MVP. As of the date of this video, 1968 remains the only year both MVP awards went to pitchers. For the 1968 season, opposing batters only had a batting average of 184. The Cardinals made it to the World Series again in 1968 to face the Detroit Tigers. In Game 1, Gibson struck out 17 batters, setting a World Series record, which still stands as of the date of this recording. Gibson started Game 4, where the Cardinals won 10-1. The series would go to 7 games, with the Tigers winning the series. The overall pitching statistics of the 1968 season are often cited as one of the reasons for MLB's decision to change pitching-related rules. MLB lowered the pitcher's mound in 1969 from 15 inches to 10 inches and reduced the height of the strike zone from the batter's armpits to the jersey letters. Despite these rule changes, Gibson continued to dominate pitching in 1969, earning 20 victories with a 2.18 ERA and struck out at least 200 batters, marking the 7th season he reached 200 strikeouts. The 1971 season saw Gibson reach 2 milestones. On August 4th, he earned his 200th career win, and on August 14th, he pitched a no-hitter. In 1974, he reached a milestone that hadn't been accomplished since 1923, becoming the second pitcher in Major League history after Walter Johnson to strike out more than 3,000 batters when he struck out Cesar Geronimo, who was coincidentally the batter that Nolan Ryan struck out in 1980 when he reached 3,000 strikeouts. In January 1975, Gibson announced he would retire, capping off his 17-year career. He had a win-loss record of 251 and 174 with an ERA of 2.91. He pitched 56 shutouts and 255 complete games, striking out 3,117 batters in 3,884 innings. After retiring as a player, Gibson had a few MLB coaching jobs and also became a broadcaster on TV and radio.
Playing baseball was my life, and it's something that I devoted 100% to. One writer asked me a few days ago, what did I want to be remembered as? And I said that I want to be remembered as a person, a competitor that gave 100% every time I went out on the field.
Gibson was inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame in 1981 in his first year of eligibility. Bob Gibson died on October 2, 2020 at age 84 under hospice care after fighting pancreatic cancer for more than a year. May he rest in peace. Gibson spent his entire career with one franchise, and as the light of his time in baseball continues to fade, like so many other pioneers of the game, new lights of the game continue to shine. Athletes have a tendency to illuminate our imagination. They give us hope for ourselves, and we are always expecting brilliance and comfort in times of uncertainty and struggle. Perhaps a childish expectation, but like my father with Gibson, I am awed by the pictures that I have witnessed in my life, and those memories and lights will never fade. If you've made it this far in the video, thanks. If you like these types of vids, like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Thanks again, and stay tuned.